Yeah, it's a hell of a song.
This is for websites.
Yep, that's the topic of the day. So
Yeah.
SEO and SEM was kind of where I was going. I was talking to Jerry last week, and we do the free SEO audits. It got me thinking, all right, let me talk about that kind of thing. It's basically for the website stuff, but I know it's a lot of terms that a lot of people get thrown out there all the time. Yes.
SEO means
Search engine. So SEO is the organic level of it. If you hear SEM, it's the paid level of it. To give you a more general concept of it, that is the M is now just for the marketing aspect, the SEM. The O is for optimization, organic, if you want to kind of look at it that way. It's what you're doing that doesn't necessarily have to get paid to do. Unless you know what you're doing, it can cause some minor issues and everything like that. So for example, like there's a lot of different website builders, and a lot of them Wix. I use Squarespace, WordPress. You use WordPress type of thing. Now WordPress is the big one. WordPress is about 50% of American websites are using WordPress. The nice part about it is it lays out everything pretty standard template kind of style, so you just fill in the blanks and it goes. But even within that, it builds in 1,000 different little items where it says, oh, if you want to get a little better than this, pay us a little more money. If you want to get a little better than this, pay a little more money. For buying parts of websites, it's a lot of meal piece type of things that they try to sell you on to get you encouraged to do it yourself. Because buying a URL, buying a website might only cost you $2 to like $12 a month. So that's a price scale that everyone's like, oh, it's easy. But what it actually does, and is that bringing you an income, a return on your investment during that period, is kind of the big factor. And that's where a lot of the SEO factors come in, because if you are going to start developing your own website, or even just keeping track of your own website, it's not dissimilar from social media. It doesn't need as much keep up on it, but you do want to go in there on a monthly basis to kind of make sure certain things are up to date, especially because they are constantly changing SEO on a regular basis. So for instance, AI has been the big thing this year and the past year or so, and a lot of SEO companies were worried that AI was going to kind of take over the SEO avenue, because now it's a computer talking to another computer, asking it what does it need and what type of information is out there. When in reality, the computer is still asking and trying to find the most organic answers nowadays. And that's the best part of why you should optimize your website and what you should try to look into as far as putting in keywords, making sure that what you're presenting out on your website, similar to a store, what are you putting on your sign? What is drawing people in to find you? And so that's where a lot of the SEO stuff comes in. So a lot of the basics that you get started on here, that on the sheet that I handed out, it kind of is just going over, again, starting up the website. So a lot of that is important, obviously, to make sure that it's actually running, but these are the little more technical ones that, while it says basic, is something where it's good to have someone revise and look over aspects. The keyword research is the stuff that both you should be doing on your own, as well as working with someone who's a little more experienced in what that means. Because what you're identifying is things like the keywords that people are searching to find you. What are they actually saying when they go to Google or they go to Bing? Are they saying, I want to build a new kitchen? Or are they saying, I want to install a sink? Or I want to install the handle on the sink? Each little factor of that is how much independence you want to be aware of. In the sense that, does it make sense for you to go out if someone just has a loose knob? Is it going to be cost effective for you to go do those small jobs? Probably not. But if someone wants to install a full kitchen, that's the stuff you want. So you might want to take off things from your website that say, I install sinks, because that's not really what you want. You don't want people looking to install a sink in their house.
Even though it's a process of
Even though it's a process
part of what you're doing.
it, yes.
Right.
So you want the higher end items on your website. With Jerry type of thing, he's doing residential and commercial. Now, residential people are going to be searching a lot more, so he wants to make sure that, yes, we can do residential, but he might want to have a dedicated page that says, here's what we do for commercial level things.
Yeah, right.
Now we're using different type of chemicals, going to a different amount of level. Maybe you're pricing it differently. Maybe square footage for commercial is one price point, where square footage for residential is a separate price point.
Yeah.
And there might be a minimal. What counts as commercial versus residential in that thing? If you're dealing with 30,000 square feet, then it's better to put them under that commercial level. If someone had a house that was 30,000 square feet, maybe they would want to be under that price point. So those are the different types of things you want to identify. It's good to identify your competitors. What are your competitors doing? Look at the ones that are going out there and seeing what type of search terms come up when you do searches for that stuff. Because a lot of times, when I'll go into some of the businesses, they'll type in very specifically what their business is, and I'm like, that's not how everyone else found you. It's great that you typed in mom and pop's pizza, but I just typed in pizza and you don't come up. So those are those factors as to what you want to do. Yes.
How do you overcome the issue of geography? Because like if I'm looking for a cleaner,
Yep.
and I type into Google, I'm looking for a cleaner or a handyman, how do I get like Bordentown to come up?
So two parts.
Versus-
AI is helping in that.
Right,
So AI is helping in the local thing in the sense that if you're using a mobile phone or even if you're on your computer, it's kind of triangulating where you are. So if you just type in finding a pizza shop near me or a cleaner near me, it's generally trying to give you those people locally. And if sometimes you'll see ones that are far away, especially at the top, that's probably someone doing something with more of the SEM where they're paying for that stuff. And it's very easy. If it's coming up on the top bar, if it's saying sponsored next to it, if it's anything along those lines, those are people paying directly for you.
right.
So you can go, you can go down further. That might be the right answer too, because you might type in cleaner near me, and that's gonna give you a little more accurate results. Because now Google's both checking where are you based on that. So yours typing in cleaner near me, but we've had the talks, he goes down to Philly, he'll go up to New York City type of thing. Now it gets more difficult when you get into the larger cities. Making too much of a wide net kind of hurts you because you were trying to catch fish, but you've got holes the size of your net that is catching dolphins. You're trying to catch those big whales, but you're letting all the small stuff through. Having a focus on your website where it says territories that I work, and being specific, go down the list. You can go on Wikipedia and type in what towns are in Burlington County. It's just gonna give you a list, copy, paste, throw that on your website. Now it specifies what service area it is. Now it's taking up a little bit of your page on your website, and I always say, look, you can have 2-3 pages on your website. That's always good, because now you can focus and specialize on these things, but that's good to have. Focus on the points of what townships are you working. Highlight the points of what are the main things of that you're providing as opposed to your competitors. I'm trying to think if there was something else that I had in mind. When you get into the big cities, if you just say Philadelphia, now it's all right, well, that's a big city. You're talking about 8 million people, 9 million people type of thing that you're reaching out. You want to put in single family homes. You want to put in single first time homeowners or people moving out because they need to clean their properties. Like those are those type of aspects where here's people who want to buy it and they'll be able to throw out $500, $600, $700 on one job because that's not the weekly, hey, I just need a couple things dusted around the house type of scenario. You need to clarify those type of aspects of the type of job you're doing so that when people are searching for it, they're finding you. Yeah.
Yeah, do you also do Google LSA, like local service ads?
The local service ads, yes.
Okay,
So the
okay.
local service ads is something new that kind of came around just a little around the same time as the AI aspect. So the Google local service ads for a lot of businesses has helped out. It's more for SKU codes, so like more product-based stuff is a lot easier. So it's like we use Google local service ads with us, but we try to focus it only for the car dealerships that we work with because their VIN numbers are related to that type of thing, where it's like, okay, if I'm looking for a new F-150, it's only gonna show F-150s now in that area to buy something. But we've worked with it for jewelers, we've worked with it for a couple different products where it's just like they wanna specify specific jewelry, so they might wanna use it for wedding and engagement rings, where it's like, I'm working with a guy and he's like, well, we have watches, and I'm like, don't worry about the watches because you're selling them online, but so is everybody else. That's not I need to go in person to get the fit type of thing. A ring needs to fit. They're gonna wanna come in person. So getting them on the buy where it's like, hey, we can purchase in store and come in for your fitting because we tie that into how he kind of advertises it. It says free fitting with purchase type of scenario. And so that's the difference from if he had just bought it, if you're buying a piece of jewelry and you're just buying it from where advertising. Those are little aspects. the local ad service is also limited to which businesses can use it. So there's a whole list, and I'm trying to remember, there's about, we're around 75, 100 businesses where the local ad services works.
Yeah.
And so it's something where it's good to get in, but it works so far, it seems to work better with e-commerce type of development. So if you had something where someone wanted to purchase right online, right then and there, go for it, but realize what are they buying? Because they might say, yeah, if you're basing your price off of square footage, they're gonna say, yeah, no, this is only a 10-foot square room. You just clean the whole thing. So it's like, it becomes difficult in those type of situations. Yeah, so that's like kind of one, yeah.
Sorry, do you also do ads for Google and Facebook, or
Yeah.
you do reviews for them also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and that's another, so like what you just said with reviews, that's a huge one, because the reviews are part of your SEO. So there's your on-page content that you'll see down in the 4th section, but then there's your off-page SEO. And off-page SEO is just exactly what we're doing here, the networking kind of sense. It's getting people aware of what your website is from other avenues. So social media, backlinks used to be a big thing, now it's not as big. Backlinks are just what other websites are connected to your website. Like if you're ever searching on Wikipedia and you start scrolling and you see like certain parts are highlighted and then it goes to their page, that would be considered a backlink. It's what's going from one person to another. So Ralph's page might go to your page being like, hey, look, if you're needed title insurance on the property that you're buying with me, here's title insurance. So backlinking between partnerships and things of that nature, all partnerships section on your website is not a bad idea. With the AI avenue, frequently asked questions can be a huge one for you. Because now again, it's people, what are people searching when they're trying to find your service, be it big or small? And if you have a frequently asked questions section and you're answering the best answer, when I say best, be concise, be accurate with what you're saying. When we talk with like David type of thing, a lot of his times are, well, maybe, or it depends. Don't answer those questions because you don't want, it's not gonna help you in the long run. It helps the human, but they've still gotta find it. It doesn't help the search algorithm. And so with those type of things, the more accurate you can be and the more concise, we can fix this precise thing. We can kill termites. We can spill certain types of termites. I don't even know the different types of termites, but I'm sure there are. We can do that. Those are precise things you want to put in a Q&A form on your website, because AI generated searches now, if you search on something in Google, sometimes if you are asking those more precise questions, it just comes up and gives you that answer.
Right.
And that's pulling from a website. And it usually provides the source right under that answer. So for you to become that source, you need to have the most accurate answer to that exact question. Well, you'll see people ask the same question in 1,000 different ways. And so that's the other part of trying to figure out how to ask the question that your people trying to find you are asking.
Right.
And there's websites for that. So for specifically, so like for Jerry type of thing, so we're doing a whole SEO report on his type of thing. Now we're using SEMrush is a whole internet service. They're not unique. There's Ahrefs is another website that people have used. They do provide the free capability for you to monitor your website. And what it's gonna do is all it's asking for is your URL. You plug it in and it says, okay, here's what I know, or if I was just, as it is, if it's a computer, what does it seem like your website is doing?
Right.
And so it's good to plug in your website there just to figure out what people might be searching or what it seems to give answers to. Because you might say, I do full home construction, or I do siding, or I do anything like that, and it might come up and say, I do stucco. And Chuck doesn't do stucco. So it's just like, yeah, so it's like, it's that type of thing where if the website is telling it, if you feel like you're getting a lot of calls of people asking you a question and it's not a service you provide and you pass it along, that might be from your website. That might be because something on your website is telling people, hey, as far as we know, this is what you do. Because it's not a human going through figuring out what you do. It really is a computer just looking at all the words, combining them together and saying, what is it that you do? Type of scenario.
Your company, or you personally, which way is it? Do you do websites at all?
I have worked with people doing websites. I try to keep it at a lower price range because again, it depends on how much of a level we're kind of talking over. With the SEO items, I always suggest, look, find someone that does the free SEO. we're not the only company that does it by any means. Find someone that does it to give you that research, because I think we gave Jerry here like an 8 or 9 page summary of what it is, but I've got a whole other 96 page thing of all the little details. So you can go through all those little details independently, knowing what the error is. Most of what you should be able to find, you should be able to figure out on your website what it's doing wrong, but at the same time, how much effort do you have in that? And again, it depends on the size of the business and the size of the company. For Jerry type of thing, like, again, if we're just hitting, let's say, Mercer County and Burlington County,
That's easier.
we're a little easier. We can sit there and say, okay, now we're gonna isolate, we're gonna go township by township, break this down to make sure your service areas. It might take me 10, 20 hours a month for something of that scale. Just to get, once it's formatted. After that, after like the first 3 months, we can get it down to like maybe 5-4 hours a month. But if he wants to go after,
Right.
you might as well be paying somebody else, because if you're doing that out of your own job and doing that
Yeah, you can't
actual
do it.
work,
Yeah.
you're
The
not having
time
a
is
personal
boggling,
life.
it's mind-boggling,
Yeah.
because even if it's 4 hours for one person to manage the website, the back, that's a lot.
Yeah, and it is. It's a constant thing. It's small stuff, but you got to check. Doing billing is going to take you time to keep the numbers straight and everything like that. The amount of
Yeah,
times
I mean,
I've worked with like small shops where it's like they're doing their own billing, they're doing their own marketing, they're doing it all, and it's just a husband and wife combo. I'm like, this is why sometimes you have to hire an outside source. It's either find someone that can work directly with you, that's in-house, because then they can kind of handle all those things, because I've done it from different levels. I've done where I'm the marketing guy that has to do everything marketing. So I had to learn this stuff because it wasn't what they hired me for, but they just thought that that's the same thing.
Right.
And yes, it is a marketing tool, but it's also the same as your front window displaying the name of your business or the sign. That's also a marketing tool. I've never built a sign, I've never installed a window, like those type of levels, but it is all there under the concept of marketing.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things will come up where, for me, I always recommend have someone look it over, we can go through the review, and if you gave me a 96 page review, I'm like, look, I'll sit down with you a couple hours each month to do this, but it's gonna take us a year before we actually make any headway. And that's the organic part of it.
Right.
It's gonna take time, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are gonna get a little quicker. Keeping up on a Q&A, like once you get, putting together a Q&A might be time consuming, but once you've got it up, you might only have a new question come up maybe once or twice a month. Yeah, the lowest price that I see an individual building a website for somebody else usually is gonna be $600, $700 a month type of thing.
A month.
And that's, and that's not saying that it's gonna be done within a month type of thing.
No.
That's the other part. Like, they could be, the more money you wanna throw it to get up front, the quicker it can get done, but it's probably 7-8 people really putting it
Then
together.
once that $600 a month is, the website is complete,
Yes.
then it doesn't cost $600
Then it
a
doesn't
month to
cost.
maintain
Yeah.
it. It costs less.
Yeah.
But what would it cost then to maintain it? Round figure.
The concept, again, it depends on how much you're gonna do with everything, sure, it depends.
Right.
Because everyone's gonna have different price scales.
It also
For me-
probably depends on how much stuff changes, like our website doesn't change very much, it's
Sure.
pretty static, it's like an online brochure, but like Amazon, every second it has to change, because there's different prices and different items and stuff, so I'm
Yeah,
guessing it's
like
probably-
you have a lot of tools like under MLS where it's automatically changing from them doing it for you type of thing.
Right.
So you can have certain parts of your website fairly static. Your name isn't gonna change, the company that you're with isn't gonna change anytime soon type of thing, like the area that you work in might not change. So those type of things can stay static. Then you would have probably a plugin for the MLS where it's just like all the new listings that come up, that's constantly changing. You might be asleep when it would change type of thing if someone goes on a listing. So certain parts of your website are gonna be more fluid than others, and so that's why I would say it depends. You shouldn't be spending more than $500 a month just for maintaining it.
Yeah.
You might find people who wanna show you how to do it, and then you can start to take some of that workload off of them. But yeah, it depends on what you have your website
So
doing.
about $5,000 or $6,000 a year.
And that's it. That's not too bad of a cost by any means, type of thing.
No.
If it's generating money for you, that's
If it's generating.
Where is the whole thing gonna come in at? Because yes, it's finding customers, but getting just the Google My Business page finds you customers, and that's free of cost.
Right.
And a lot of people don't put that in properly. And that was something where it's just like when I was doing the audits for everyone through just what I'm finding on the websites from when I was searching for everyone here, I saw that some people had, like, Mark has his territory as the USA. I don't know how many jobs he does in Alaska,
Yeah.
but he has the availability, and I'm like, that's too big though. It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary.
If you know you're gonna stay within a 15-mile radius, be the best 15-mile radius and cover those 1.2 million people. Don't try to cover 300,000 million people in the whole of USA. It's not working out for you beneficially.
Yeah, I made that mistake in the beginning.
And so yeah, he's going through the website, like type of thing. Like we're seeing like certain simple things. Like, does the work that you do have the name in your title alone? So like title insurance, evolution title, it's right there. Title itself has many different uses,
Yes.
which I'm sure is a lot of confusion that
And we
comes
get
up.
people come in at least 2 or 3 times a year looking for auto.
Because now it's insurance.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And
and so
you should
they're
be
gonna
calling
be
me
listed
at
those
that
things.
I was
It
just-
directly, and that's a good backlink, it directly links right over to Steve's non-existent.
If you're
website.
looking for auto insurance, click here.
Oh, okay, all right, good, there we go. So things like that are always gonna be a factor, kind of play into things and stuff like that. For him with RMS cleaning, just doing the quick search, he's covering from Philadelphia to New York type of thing. That's a big scope. It's gonna be a lot on the website avenue. There's a RMS cleaning already in North Bergen.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a confusion website where it's just like, hey, what's the difference between you two? I don't know that answer because I haven't sat down with him
Why are you in
yet.
North Bergen anyway?
What's
That's
that?
the problem.
That might be too far of a hike for him.
Yeah.
But just
Dash
having,
is
yeah, the
harder.
dash is hard because I don't type with dashes in.
Yeah, because when I started, like, brand new, when I was
Yeah.
creating the website, I think he asked me for like $70 to pay for the. It's really not that much
Yeah.
different. I didn't know it was that big of a deal, so I was like, okay, let me just take this one, rms-cleaning.com, and just make my own. I didn't know it was gonna be that big of a deal, but it was. But we do our ranking on Google now
Yeah.
because of more reviews and stuff lately. So I don't know how the ranking is, but so far we be in it.
Yeah, and the ranking's constantly changing too. Like what is important now might be not as important next year. And those are the factors with AI where it's just like certain things are a little more important now. The frequently asked questions I think is a huge one because that's something that it's kind of pulling from because people aren't going to Google to answer their questions. They can go to a ChatGPT and get their answer that way. And so those are gonna play into Google, otherwise Google would go out of business. So Google's adapting with the AI as well as building their own type of thing. But even how people are finding you, how your phone is gonna find people.
Well, I just Googled RMS space cleaning.
Sure.
And Jerry's came up.
Yeah.
I have a similar issue. There's another Precision Builders. We're
I saw
Precision
that.
Builders and Remodelers.
Yes, yeah, you had this, there was 2 things that I remember from yours. There was another precision one, which understandably, you want it to be, like, it's a good word to use to describe what you're doing. And even your logo looked like it was similar to someone else's. And I wanna say maybe it was just developed off of like a Canva or something like that, where your logo looks similar.
I think Mark
And
and
that happens a
Cynthia
lot.
came up with that logo for me.
Okay. So I remember when I was looking into things, because I was trying to find a better graphic, a better pixel of your logo, and then I saw someone else had something similar, and it was pretty much the same colors.
It hasn't been too much of an issue. I mean, a couple people thought, but you know what? If they're calling me,
Yeah.
I mean, I got a foot in the door already, so.
And the logo doesn't matter type of thing, like Beasley's logo, the first comment that I get is, how are you getting away with this logo? Because it looks very similar to the Beats by Dr. Dre, like the headphone set type of thing, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know how they got away with it. It's their name, so it starts with that, maybe that's it, but it's just different enough in that aspect. But yeah, so good to review your website, good to keep up on things, even if you're not changing a lot of aspects about your website, go in there from time to time, maybe just change the wording. It doesn't have to be overly complicated, but just kind of put those things in. If you're getting a lot of questions asked to you on a regular in-person basis with your customers and clients, throw those on your website, because those are things that, yes, they're asking you directly,